We're talking about decision fatigue today. Huh? Why does our brain taps out? Why isn't that supposed to be the most powerful and complex structure of the universe? So why do we tap out? You want to see this as a smartphone battery. Every single time that you make a decision, it drains a little bit of this mental energy, and then by the end of the day, your brain is empty. It's like a muscle, and when you use your muscle at the gym, for example, you're tired after. So you're using the tire and you need to refuel, right? So every single time that you make a decision between this or that, your prefrontal cortex gets tired. So that part of your brain, your decision-making headquarters, let's say, that's responsible for weighing the pros and the cons of every single decision that you make. So the problem is there's a limited amount of fuel for your brain, which is glucose and oxygen, and the more you use your fuel, the slower and less effective it becomes as well. So be careful with that. So what happens then instead of making a wise decision, you choose the easiest thing. And then you make a decision just to be done with it because you can't handle having to make another decision. You're like under your desk, no, I'm not taking anymore. So you choose the easiest thing instead of choosing potentially the right decision. Or you don't choose at all. You're tapped out, so you procrastinate and you don't even do what you're supposed to do. See, there's this concept of mental clutter that sometimes it's not the decision as much as the clutter that is around our environment that increases your brain load, if you'd like, your cognitive load. So when you have too many decisions to make is one thing, but sometimes it's not decision, it's just trying to not eat a cookie. That requires the same amount of energy. So it goes in the same fuel tank, if you'd like, or if you're biting your tongue in a meeting and you're like, my gosh, this person, I don't agree with them, I can't stand them, and you're just biting your tongue. You're not making a decision. Your impulse control is also dragging energy from that fuel tank and the different noise that's around you. So potentially if you work from home and during the summer, your kids are home. So that drains a lot of that mental energy as well. So here are a few tricks that you can do. One, reduce the amount of decisions that you need to make every day. So if you automate the small stuff, let's say your clothes, what are you going to wear? So if you always wear the same thing like Steve Jobs, he didn't have to worry about what is he going to wear. When I go on a speaking engagement, I always wear the same thing. That's my uniform. That's what I wear to speak. I'm going to have a full workshop to memorize, to have in my head. I don't need to have to worry about the clothes that I'm going to wear. So there's a lot of small decision. If you eat the same thing for breakfast, if you already know what you're going to have for lunch, like I'll automate the small decisions, because it doesn't matter whether it's a big decision or a small one. It drains energy to make a decision. So don't change your toothpaste brand all the time, because that's another decision. So try to limit the amount of decisions. The other thing, the second tool that I could offer is make sure that whenever your tank is full, whenever your brain is full of fuel and you have a full tank of energy, that you choose to make your best decision then. So for some of you, it's first thing in the morning. You want to make sure that your best decisions happen at that time. And for some people, it's not first thing in the morning because they can't operate before they have taken their coffee, before they had their first coffee. So whatever it is for you, when you feel that you're rejuvenated, and maybe it's after rest, resting for something, maybe it's after lunch, whenever you feel that you've taken the least amount of decision and that you feel the most productive, that's when you should make your decisions. And the third tool that I can offer is reduce the amount of decisions that you want to do by limiting the options. So narrow down the menu to two things. It's either this or that. So instead of coming home and say, what could I eat tonight? Well, just say, should I eat this or that? So that it's much easier to choose between two things than to choose between all the possibilities that could happen. So if you're working with a team, get your team to narrow down the choices for you. If you're a busy executive, make sure that the options are not too overwhelming, that there's just this or that. It's much easier to choose between two things than it is to choose between all kinds of possibilities. So narrow down your choices. So hopefully this helps. That explains a little bit more about decision fatigue and about what happens in the brain and why it happens to us. So hopefully you are able to make better decisions now and save your good decisions for the time that you're best at and narrow down your choices.